Hello, how are we? And welcome back to the pod. I am your host, HannaGh English, and you are listening to CHAOTIC AQUARIUS. I'm hoping you can see me on Spotify, but if I didn't get it working on Spotify, you will definitely be able to see me over on the YouTube. Over on the YouTube, I got video on the last one that I put up, so if you haven't watched it, if you haven't listened to it, you can stream it on YouTube. There is visuals. I'm in my car, so we're recording from our car again, Stella. Even though I'm kind of sick of the sight of this car, I love you, Stella, but I've been in this car so much in the last 2 weeks. Also, side note, we went blonder. We have a chop. It's the new hair. It's the new hair. We're going back blonde. We're going back blonde. The HannaGh era of blonde is coming back. It's a good day. The sun is shining. It'll probably start pissing the heavens in a second, but it's a good day. It's a good day. I am a bit warm in this car though, to be honest, so it's not going to be a long pod. It's going to be a quick chit chat. Love this car, but I've been in this car so much the last 2 weeks. I've been to Kilkenny and back, Wicklow and back, Greystones, Antrim, Belfast, fucking Leitrim to get my hair done. I've literally been to, I think I counted, it was like 8 counties in like 10 days. There was miles put on this car. There was miles put on this car. So, oh my God, you can see the hair on my arm in the sun. But how are we? How is everything? How are we all feeling? How are we all coping? I feel like I'm like trying to swim. As I said before, there's a lot going on, isn't there? There's a lot going on. But what I will say is I can't cry over having a lot on my plate when the goal was to eat. I'm gonna say that again if you didn't hear me. I cannot cry for having a lot on my plate if the goal was to eat. I'm doing so much and there's so much going on in my life. There's a lot going on that I'm just so grateful for, like between just work stuff, exciting stuff coming up, projects happening. There's a lot going on. And my time management at the best of times, I'd be late to my own funeral. It's not a good trait to have. But if you're paying me to be there, I'm never late. Making sure like I'm staying on track with doing everything, because it's not just one thing I'm doing. It's like 101 things I'm doing, because why wouldn't I? It's HannaGh. Like, the more chaos in my life, the better, the more I thrive. You know, it's like I get a kick out of doing 101 things at once. I can't cry about having a lot on my plate when the goal was to eat. And boy, am I eating. I'm eating. But yeah, it's been a fucking lot, mate. It's been a lot. But we're grand. A few things I want to have a chit chat, which is about that have been coming up heavily for me in the last while. And just like reoccurring themes that I'm noticing, and a few conversations I've been having with people that I'm like, maybe I'll bring that chat to the pod. I've probably chatted about like authenticity a lot and projection before in the past. And I've definitely delved into when people they just don't vibe with you. When people just don't vibe with you, it can be for like a numerous amount of reasons, but it's also just your energy. People just won't vibe with it. The people I'm talking about are like the unhealed. They're triggered within themselves. They're unhappy. They haven't done the work. There's a lot of things going on within them. But that doesn't make it easier for you to navigate that situation, because if you're authentically yourself, right, and if you're just showing up every day, being you, knowing who you are, comfortable in your skin, and there's days where like I question everything I do. When you're so unauthentically yourself, can you hear that, Ryan? Gorge. When you're so like unauthentically yourself and you're so sure of who you are, it can also piss people off. But also, when you know who you are, I find it quite easy to spot like ungenuine people, unauthenticity. I can really spot the people that I'm like, I'm not going to gel with you, so I'm actually not even going to pour into you. Or I can be in a situation where I'm in a room and I'm reading everyone. I am like clocking you up and down, scanning you, body scanning you. And I can probably clock if you're a nice person or not. A lot of people can do that. People have the active discernment. Now, I'm sure there's people watching this and reading this going, HannaGh, you're a cunt. I don't like you. That's grand. You don't have to like me. But I'm not saying like in a sense of, oh, I just don't like you as a person. It's really shit sometimes when you can be in a situation where you can spot the venomous person amongst them, and you can turn around and you can be like, oh, I don't gel with that person. Like, she's or he is like, he or she, whoever it might be, just there's something just not clicking right. You're just like, no, you can just feel it in your gut. You can feel it in your bones. You can feel it in your waters. You can feel it in you. Like, you're like, no, that person is not for me. It's not for me. And 9 out of 10 times when I vocalize that to people, people are like, you can't say that. You can't say that. What? You just don't like them. Why? You don't even know them. Absolutely, I don't know them. You can't just go around throwing your opinion about people when you don't know them. I wholeheartedly agree. But you can pick up on vibes. You can pick up on energy. But sometimes it's so hard when you're so right about people but it's so early. It's so fucking early. And you have clocked them so early on in like the friendship or the group setting or whatever it might be. You've clocked them. You're like, no, you're the problem. Like, I know it's going to be you. You look like the nasty one because you've called it. And it's like, I'm calling that now. Watch this one. And people will be like, no. They're lovely. They're this, they're that. Bam, something will happen. You were so right. But yet you'll be the one that has been made out to be the bad guy, the confrontational one. You're made out to be the problem. But the problem is them. I hope you can hear me because it is a lashing now. And this is really nice. This is actually really nice. Chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. Can you see that, Ryan? Gorge. I think when you have that active discernment and you have that skill set of like clocking people, and if you say something, people are going to be like, you're the problem. Shut your mouth and keep going. So lately I've been navigating, do I speak my piece on this or do I let it play out? And there was one instance in particular that I kept my mouth shut, right? I kept my mouth shut with this person. Didn't give anyone my viewpoint apart from like one or two of my friends who weren't involved with the situation. They weren't in the social setting which I was dealing with this person. There was one instant where this person was playing the victim cards. Well, playing the victim card. And do you know what riled me the fuck up? Just because you cry, just because you're whinging, does not mean you're right. It doesn't mean you're right. It does not mean you're right. Just because you're sitting there, well, per me, doesn't mean you're going to get the masses to believe you. You might get them to believe you for like 5-10 minutes of the conversation, but unfortunately, true colours will show. Now, I'm not talking like if someone has actually genuinely upset you or like, sometimes like if I get really frustrated, I start to well up and because I can't get the words out. I'm not talking about that, but I'm talking about like if you're running around like the boy who cried wolf whinging about something because you're not happy that it's not going to be your tune, I'm not going to believe you. Like as soon as you start whinging to me about someone, I'm like, oh, if you're whinging to me, you're probably whinging about me. That's how I say it. If you're bad mouthing someone to me, you're probably bad mouthing me to someone else. I've clocked you straight away. I know what you're about. Like if you're going around preying on people to make sure that they agree with you and that they're like on your side, you've lost me. I've learned the hard way in. If you want people to be on your side and people to believe you, keep your mouth shut. Keep your mouth shut. If what you've done wasn't malicious and it wasn't done with malicious intent, and if you genuinely didn't do anything wrong and someone is portraying you in a different way, say nothing. Say nothing, because I guarantee you the universe or God, whatever you believe in, will show that person for who they are. But as I was saying, just because you whinge doesn't mean you're right. And just because I'm not whinging doesn't mean I'm wrong. That's something that I found very difficult to understand growing up. And especially now that I'm in my later 20s and in the industry that I'm in, or in the friend groups that I have, or in the social settings that I do be in, I am I'm sure of who I am. I'm an outspoken person. That can piss people off. That pisses a lot of people off. I say it how it is. I say how I feel. Am I right? Probably not. That doesn't mean I'm a bad person. I'm just so sure of who I am. And if I'm passionate about something, I'll speak on it. If I see something, I'll call a spade a spade. I'll call it out. I say what I see. That can piss people off because it's unpredictable. because I have an unpredictable personality that if you brought me into a social setting, you don't know what HannaGh you're going to get. You don't know if I'm going to sit there and be quiet and say nothing, or if you don't know if I'm going to kick off. I'm not saying that's right or that's wrong. That's just the type of person I am, and I can't help that. But that does piss people off. But also being that way, people can just have this automatic perception of me that I'm so tough, I'm so strong, I'm so, strong-headed that like I can take anything. I have such a thick skin. Yeah, to an extent. Like, absolutely, my mom did not raise a wimp. She didn't. But she also didn't raise a bully. You know, it's not something I'm for. Yeah, that's obviously, like, I'm not saying I was perfect growing up and I never made someone feel small. We probably all have. But now in the ripe old age of 29, the big old age that I am, the last thing I would do would be go into like a work setting or a social setting and bully them or make them feel inadequate or make them feel small. Why would I do that? Why would you go into any setting wanting to make someone feel less than? But when you pick up on these situations and you pick up on people's energy and you can pick up on people's personalities and like what they're doing and they're spitting venom, how much energy do people have in their own lives that they can victim play? And they're so concerned on what you're doing, what you have, where you're going. If you put all of the energy that you're putting into me and the people around me, if you put it into yourself, my God, you'd be blooming, you'd be gone, you'd be involved. When I see people like that in my day-to-day life and you meet them, the more I get put in situations with them people, the quicker I am to spot them. But HannaGh in the past used to confront those type of people and, give them my 2 cents. And, maybe if I just explain a situation, they'll understand, they'll listen. No, unfortunately not. 9 out of 10 times, you're just actually playing into their hand because they're wanting a reaction out of you. They're wanting you to get upset. They're wanting you to get angry. So now I try to go into these situations not really saying much, not really giving them my 2 cents. But there does come a time, doesn't there? There does come a time where you're like, nah, I've kept this mouth closed for long enough. I have to give my 2 cents on it. And it'll be the one thing I say. Like, and I do forget, like, I had an episode on human design and, like, how human design and your birth chart, like, you can learn so much about yourself. But I'm a projector. And the one thing a projector is that if you give your opinion unwarranted, if you speak without being asked to give your viewpoint, no one is going to understand or listen to you. So I think that's why this podcast works for me, because you're not asking for my viewpoint. You're willingly listening to this. So it's not going to trigger you or offend you. But if we were to sit down and have a conversation and I started to spew all this at you, you'd probably be like, kind of shut the fuck up. I'm not listening to you. You're talking cockaboola. But when you're a projector and if someone wants your opinion, they have to ask for it. So now I go into situations and I say to the girls, I'm like, are you asking for my opinion? You're asking for me to listen, because if I give you my opinion, it's probably going to trigger you if you're not looking for it. So I know I have to be very selective on the words I use because I can trigger people, because my mouth is a trigger in itself. Everything about me is a trigger. Like, it's nothing got to do with I'm great. No, it's just my energy is very triggering. I'm not saying that's a good or a bad thing, but it is. So I now know that if I have an opinion on something, or if someone's pissing me off, or if I can, like, the act of discernment, I can cycle them out, I can sniff them out, and I've sniffed out the bad one. And I'm like, it's them. They're the one spreading lies. They're the one crying, thinking that, oh, if I whinge, I'm going to get myself out of this. 9 out of 10 times, they're like twice your age as well. It's never someone your own age. It's never someone your own age, ever. But it'll be the one thing I say that, pew, they blow off the gasket, don't they? Like, lately I've been in situations where, and not even just me personally, like, I've been talking to a few of my friends where they're in situations where, like, who they are as people is triggering other people as well. And the people that I've been having these conversations with are very authentically themselves, are very sure in themselves. They're very main character energy. They're not NPC. They're probably spotting the asshole out before the asshole's even found out to be an asshole. That's usually how the story goes. It is the authenticity within yourself that annoys people. The more authentic you are, 9 out of 10 times, the more pushback you're going to get. The more obstacles are going to appear in your way and in your path. But when you have something to say and when you have an opinion, and, sometimes your opinion can be very fucking right. It can be very nail on the head, but that pisses people off. When you are educated on what's going on, and you are emotionally aware, and you're also so emotionally intellectual, that pisses people off, especially when they're older than you. Because there's this, obviously, respect your elders, but there's this weird, like, unwritten rule that an older person is wiser than you. They're smarter than you. No, no, no. So many adults that are twice my age, 3 times my age. Dumb as shit. Dumb as shit. Authenticity has been like a massive theme within my life at the moment, the last few months. And as well, the lack of. Because there was a moment there, kind of like the start of the year. We were coming into spring, like near the end of winter. I was in the pits of it. I felt like I didn't know who I was. I felt like I had no authenticity. I felt like I wasn't being genuine to myself. It is like a battle between, I said this before in the other podcast, it's a battle between you and you. Like it's you versus you in your mind. And I will die on that hill with that statement. It is difficult to be authentically in yourself when it's a world that you're being conditioned and programmed to not be authentically yourself. Like we're in a world where they keep telling us to be you, be authentically yourself, and like everything else will just fall into place. Then when you're yourself, it's a problem. It's genuinely like they want you to go around and not have an opinion, not have a voice, do nothing, say nothing, see nothing, and to just conform to the norm. And that's just not who I am. It's just not what I'm going to do. So I do think certain types of people don't gel with me because I probably show them for who they are. I put a mirror up to them. I'm like, hey, yeah, you see? But there are parts of them that are inside me. There are parts of me that are inside you. That's this whole point of life. Like we're all just reflecting each other back. We're all mirroring each other back. Like there's parts of everyone in everyone. Do you get me? So there's something within you that's triggering me, something I haven't worked on, and vice versa. But when you are unauthentically yourself, you are going to get pushback. You're going to get obstacles up, and you're going to get people that are like, no, you're being too much of you. That's too much now. It's actually, you rein it in, bring it back, bring it back. But life is weird. Like life is just really strange. And there is no rule book. There's no rule book to life other than everyone deserves to live a happy, safe life, and we should always be fucking kind to each other. But a lot of people don't want that. And I think that's absolutely batshit crazy. That there are a lot of people out there that just don't want everyone to be like living happily, and they will literally do what they can to make sure that you're not happy, or they'll do what they can to take or cause misery within your life. Situation of someone that I realised was like, oh, you're not a good egg. You're not a good egg. And again, because I kept my mouth shut, I did keep my mouth shut, which is very unlike me to not say anything. Then when I finally did, it was like, pew, and then I got taken out of the situation, which is fine. But I also know that when one door closes, there's 3 more that are going to open. If you're facing people that don't like you being unauthentically yourself, there are going to be people that will try time and time again to drag you down. They will do what they can with whatever power or energies they have left to try ruin your life or just cause friction. And it's funny because people like that, when they come face to someone like me or you who are like so sure of themselves, they close the door on you and they're like, I got one up on her, or I've just stopped this from her, or I've just put an obstacle in her way. Grand. Obstacle? Tell me what one. Door closed, 3 others are going to open. Or there's a window that's cracked and I am going to squeeze myself through that window. Because I've gotten so comfortable with how this world works and the universe and just everything. There is never a bad situation that I'm in. When I think I'm in a bad situation, I know in that situation, this is for the greater good. I know whenever I'm in a bad situation, in that moment, I think the world's ending. Like, we're only human. We do have feelings. And I do think sometimes, like, oh my God, the world is ending. This horrible thing has happened. And then I stop myself and I'm like, no, silly bitch, you silly bitch. The universe has better. God has better. Whatever you believe in, your higher power, you yourself, better is coming. So when something comes in your way and stops you in your path, just know it's someone else protecting you. It's yourself in the future protecting you and being like, no, Miss Girl, this is not for you because better is on the way. It's making room. It's making space for what you deserve to come in. So when you're so unapologetically yourself and you go through life just wanting to do well for yourself and you just want to spread love, give love, be kind, you obviously aren't going to take shit. Like, I'm not saying I'm sitting there being like, oh my God, it's sunshine and rainbows. No. There's nasty people out there and I'm going to call them out. And so should you. But don't lose yourself in doing that. I've done that before where I have been so wrapped up in a situation that someone who was like a disease, I call them diseases because that's what they are. They're literally venom. When I've dealt with a situation with a disease before and they're doing what they can to try and break me, I've got so wrapped up in not breaking them, but I've got so wrapped up in proving to everyone that this person is nasty, not me, that I've lost who I am in the midst of that. And now I know there's a magpie. You know, magpies are English, by the way. But I know when I'm in the midst of something, right, and someone is they are chipping away at my character and they're trying their hardest to drag me down. I will cry behind closed doors to my mom, to my best friends, to myself in the mirror. I will not let them see that they've broken me because they haven't broken me. Yes, you're allowed to be upset over a situation, but no one breaks you. I'm Hannah English. You can't break me. Nuh-uh. But now I know sometimes you don't need to give a reaction because they'll end up making their bed in the end. And yet you can give your 2 cents and you can be like, look, I don't really appreciate this or I don't appreciate that. Don't let anyone ever speak to you like shit, first off. If you're going to give me attitude, I can mirror that attitude back. But be unapologetic to yourself and you, and don't take shit. But also don't get wrapped up in the small nitty gritty stuff of trying to prove yourself to anyone. Because recently in that same situation with that crazy disease that I was dealing with, I was kind of getting wrapped up in thinking, but they're going to think I'm this person, they're going to think that, and you know, the people that they're spewing venom to are going to believe that like I'm this nasty person. I'm like, hang on a minute. I know I'm not. I know what they've said is fabricated lies. And I know that they're just off on one and they're in their little Delulu land thinking that they're perfect and they're a saint when they're actually Satan. But that's okay because karma comes back for you. It might not come back in 5 minutes, 5 hours, 5 years. It'll come back when it needs to come back. And like, it's like a boomerang. You can fling that out and you can fling venom out. That venom is going to turn around and hit you back in the face because I'm a true believer that what you put out into this world, you get. So if you put out nastiness, that's going to come back to you. You're going to get it in another form and you're going to have to deal with it. Not even just myself, but like people around me have been coming to me telling me of similar situations where they're being made out to be one thing, but they're not. And I'm like, yeah, but it's because you're unauthentically you. It's because you're doing you and you're not changing it for anyone. You could put me in a situation with any type of person, I'm still going to be me. There are people out there that will change their face for who they're around, and I don't agree with that. I understand, like, depending on who we're talking to or something, like in a work setting, you're not going to get the HannaGh podcast Hannah, you're going to get a more professional me, but you're still going to get me. I'm not one for changing my masks around people. And I've learned that that's probably why I don't get invited to certain tables anymore, because that triggers people. Do I want to sit at a table that's not proud of who I am or that feel threatened by me? No, because there's a bigger table waiting for me. It's a hard pill to swallow when you are you and you're happy with how you are. That sometimes that means certain people don't want you around certain people. People aren't going to invite you onto certain situations, or people, you might not get an invite to certain things. But again, do I want to be invited by them people? No. HannaGh maybe a year or two ago would have been really butthurt, being like, oh my God, I didn't get invited there, or I didn't get asked to do this. Yeah, our egos get bruised, absolutely. But do you really want to be around people that aren't comfortable with who you are? No, because I'm not dimming my life for anyone, and you shouldn't either. But that's my little tangent on that situation of authenticity. I'll probably have more to say on authenticity in like 5 days' time, or like a week's time, or like 3 months down the line I'm on the podcast again. Right now, that's how I'm feeling on that subject. But yeah, that's just my viewpoint on like authenticity. And it's tough out there, you know? Sometimes when you're not conforming to the norm, because this year alone has taught me that when one door closes, by God, there's like 3 more doors open. I'm actually so warm in this car, guys. I'm probably going to have to wrap this podcast up. Again, I can't cry about having a lot on my plate when the goal was to eat. 2:22 on the clock. The more unapologetically you are yourself, the right people will gravitate towards you, and the wrong ones they'll hit the road, Jack. So don't worry. But before I wrap this up here, we're going to have an Irish word of the week, of course, because I haven't been doing them, and I do apologise. And also, wherever you're listening to this podcast on, please follow. If it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, whatever it is, follow. Please follow my Instagram. Just spread the love, guys. Please spread the love. So yes, I'm fucking Gaeilge done shocked and shut, not born too locked, which is authenticity. Because we need to be authentically ourselves. Always. Also, the podcast is a year old next week. The 11th of June, my podcast is 1 year old. I don't know how to feel about that because in my head, I thought I would have had like 100 episodes out by then. And then I realised I'm a one-man band and I have 101 things going on in my life and my hands are in all the pots and I'm doing 101 things that I'm like, there's only so many hours in a day. So I do apologise for not having more episodes than I thought I would have out by a year, but it's a year old and the fact that I'm still doing this a year on, I'm very proud of myself because I tend to give up on things quite easily. I will start a hobby and a week later, I don't know how many hobbies I started as a kid that my mother's heart was broke. I did them for a week and the only thing I really stuck to was horse riding. And then I got flung off the horse and never went back. But I was a brilliant horse rider up until then. But yeah, born too locked, authenticity. The podcast is a year old next week. I'm rebranding the look as well because I was dark. I was dark haired and I was going through a dark time in my life and I brought it out and now I'm blonde. Hopefully going back into the light. We'll see. So keep an eye on the socials and I'll catch you next time. Bye.